anime lovers. Welcome to the episode Decode channel. Today I'm going to explain episode 8 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 3. So, without further delay, let's dive straight into the story. Up until now, we saw Yuji and Megumi enter colony number 1 in search of Higuruma. Both Rin and Remy claim they know Higuruma's location. Now, the story flashes back to March 2016. A thief murders a mother and daughter. The police arrest a young man named Kita who lives in the area. However, Kita claims he is innocent. Higuruma, a defense lawyer, goes to meet Kita. When the police initially went to question Kita, he ran away. They chased him to his home and found a blood-stained knife in his room. The blood matched the victim's. It seemed like a clear-cut case. But Kita explains he only ran because he had a pet cat, and pets weren't allowed in his building. He wanted to protect the cat. As for the knife, he found it lying on the street. Back at the office, Higuruma's assistant Shimizu thinks the story sounds fake. Why would he pick up a random knife or run from the police? Higuruma explains that Kita had been harassed by police before. Kita worked at a shelter called NPO, caring for the elderly. He wasn't paid a salary, just pocket money and one meal. And even then they charged him 500 yen for rent. Higuruma starts investigating everyone in the neighborhood with a criminal record, convinced Kita is innocent. Shimizu wonders why Higuruma works so hard on a case everyone thinks is a lost cause, especially since they don't get paid much as public defenders. Higuruma says these cases keep his mind sharp. We then see Shimizu meeting Takagi at a cafe. Takagi, who used to work with Higuruma, explains he has always been this way, uninterested in money. He once lost a case for a 19-year-old boy, and the boy screamed at him for failing. Takagi warned him then, protecting the weak sounds good but it will ruin your mental health. Despite the odds, Higuruma works day and night and proves Kita's innocence. He discovers another boy went missing from the neighborhood on the day of the crime, and Kita was seen on CCTV at a store during the murder. Kita thanks Higuruma, but Higuruma knows the prosecution will appeal. In the retrial, the system fails Kita. He is found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. Higuruma, lacking the funding and staff of the higher courts, can't present new evidence. Kita looks at Higuruma with eyes full of anger and grief. Higuruma realizes that while the law is blind, equal for all, people also close their eyes because they don't want to see the bitter truth. But Higuruma decides he will always keep his eyes open for justice, even if he is alone. In the courtroom, Higuruma stands up and strikes the table. Suddenly, a massive Shikigami appears behind him. He tells everyone to sit down because the trial is starting over. This was the moment his powers awakened, making him a player in the Culling Game. Back in the present, Rin and Remy both claim to know Higuruma's spot, but one of them is lying. We see a man named Reggie, waiting for his next victim. We also get a flashback of Rin's school days where he watched bullies target a student. Rin did nothing, but another student stepped in. It was Yuji who took down the bullies easily. In the present, Rin leads Yuji to a theater, claiming Higuruma is inside. Rin admits he's never met Higuruma but knows he beat a powerful sorcerer named Haba. Meanwhile, Remy betrays Megumi, leading him straight into Reggie's trap. Megumi is furious and immediately summons his divine dog. Inside the theater, Yuji finds Higuruma lying fully clothed in a bathtub. Higuruma says it brings him peace. When Yuji tries to talk business, Higuruma jokingly says his consultation fee is 5,000 yen. Yuji realizes Higuruma isn't an ancient sorcerer, but a modern human who recently gained powers. Elsewhere, Reggie realizes Megumi is strong and asks how much he knows about the Culling Game. Reggie believes Kenjaku has a secret plan. If powerful players like Kishimo and Higuruma eliminate everyone else, the game will stall. These two alone have eliminated about 60 players. Reggie thinks that once only the strongest are left, Kenjaku will drop a bomb to end the game himself. At that moment, we see Kenjaku meeting with Chinese government officials. Back in the theater, Yuji asks Higuruma for his 100 points to add a new rule. Higuruma refuses. He wants to see how the law of the Culling Game works and doesn't want it to end early. Yuji realizes words won't work and threatens him. Higuruma stands up. He has 100 points, meaning he has already killed about 20 sorcerers. He steps toward Yuji and shouts, "Domain expansion, deadly sentencing." And that's where the episode ends. Hello anime lovers! Welcome to episode Decode. Today I'm explaining episode 9 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. Let's jump straight into the story. Picking up where we left off, Higuruma refuses to listen to Yuji and immediately activates his domain expansion Deadly Sentencing. Yuji tries to punch Higuruma before the domain fully forms, but his hand stops midair. Higuruma explains that violence is strictly forbidden inside his domain, a rule that applies to both of them. Suddenly, they are standing in a courtroom. Higuruma's domain is essentially a court of law where Yuji is on trial, and the Shikigami behind Higuruma is the judge, Judgment. Judgment charges Yuji with a crime, entering a pachinko parlor while being under 18. Higuruma explains that while Judgment knows everything about the people in the domain, Higuruma himself doesn't. The final verdict depends on their arguments. Judgment hands Higuruma an envelope containing evidence. Yuji realizes he has one chance to defend himself. He remembers Tegan mentioning that ancient sorcerers use domains without guaranteed hit effects. In modern domains, like Gojo's, an attack is 100% guaranteed to hit. But Higuruma's domain is old style. It doesn't physically hurt you, but it forces you to follow the rules of the trial. Higuruma gives Yuji 3 options: silence, confession, or denial, where he can even lie. Yuji is shocked that lying is allowed, but Higuruma points out that if everyone told the truth, trials wouldn't exist. Yuji worries because he did go to the parlor and won money. He decides to lie, saying he only went inside to use the toilet. However, the evidence is a photo of Yuji at a nearby ATM. Higuruma argues that if he was at an ATM, he was clearly there to get cash for gambling, not just for the restroom. Judgment declares Yuji guilty, and the penalty is confiscation. The domain vanishes, and they return to the real world. Higuruma attacks with his gavel, which he can summon from anywhere and change its size. Yuji realizes he can't use his cursed energy. We learn that Higuruma is a 36-year-old genius who passed the bar exam on his first try. As a sorcerer, he is even more talented. He learned high-level barrier techniques and energy control in just 12 days, reaching grade 1 strength and defeating 20 players already. Even without cursed energy, Yuji holds his ground. Higuruma is baffled. Most sorcerers become helpless without their powers, but Yuji's physical body is unnaturally strong. Yuji realizes he needs a retrial. He demands one, and they are pulled back into the domain. This time, Judgment charges Yuji with a much heavier crime, the mass murder in Shibuya. To Higuruma's horror, Yuji looks him in the eye and says, "Yes, I did it. I confess." Judgment immediately sentences Yuji to death. Back in the real world, Higuruma's gavel turns into the executioner's sword. If this sword even grazes a person, they die instantly. It could even kill Sukuna or Gojo. But Higuruma is conflicted. He sees Yuji trying to be a good person despite the darkness. He remembers why he wanted to be a lawyer, to help the weak. Higuruma knows the truth from the evidence. It was Sukuna who committed the murders, not Yuji. Yet, Yuji took the blame because he feels responsible for being weak. Seeing Yuji's heart, Higuruma makes his sword vanish, letting Yuji punch him. Higuruma admits Yuji is innocent of the crime. He agrees to give Yuji his 100 points. They sit down, and Higuruma asks if Yuji has ever killed anyone on purpose. When Yuji says yes, Higuruma comforts him, saying it must have been painful. Higuruma calls his Kagane and adds a new rule. Players can now transfer points to each other. He then sends his points to Yuji, ensuring Yuji is safe for the next 19 days.